welcome back. So today's video is a first impressions video. I haven't done one of these in a really long time. So I have a couple of new products from Almay that I picked up, and I don't know why these weren't in my haul of new products from the drugstore, but it's okay. So I have a couple of new products, and I'm going to do a first impressions on all three of these. The first product from Almay is the Age Essentials Makeup Multi-Benefit and Anti-Aging Foundation. This does have an SPF of 15, and the shade that I picked up is Light Warm 120. I'm not 100% sure how it's gonna look, but we're gonna make it work. The next thing that I picked up from the exact same collection, I wanna say all of these are from that collection. This is the Age Essentials Concealer. Conceals age spots and under eye circles in light. And the last thing that I picked up is the Age Essentials Lip Treatment. Reduces the look of lines on and around the mouth with SPF 30. So I'm actually going to start by putting this on first and foremost, so it has a little bit of time just to sit on my lips before we put on the lipstick. Now, this is a really big tube. Let me see if I have something to compare it to. Okay, so this is the lip treatment, and this is the size of a lipstick. Do you see the difference in size? This thing is massive. You do get a lot of product. It's 6.8 grams of product. And this is 3.97. So you get twice as much product. And it is massive. So this is a lip treatment. Smells like vanilla. Has a bit of a sweet taste if you get it in your mouth. Yeah, not off-putting in any way. Let's see if that hydrates my lips before we put on the lipstick. All right, so for this purpose, I am going to put on a primer. I feel like you won't know what kind of foundation it is unless you put a primer underneath it. And I'm going to try to use all drugstore products. So I'm going to use the L'Oreal Magic Lumi Light Infusing Primer. I'm on the dry side right now because I had a peel done, and so I have some flaking just like right around my mouth area, a little bit of redness. So I'm going to use something that's going to be a little bit more illuminizing. For those of you who are dry, you know, Milani has their matte primer. That would be a really good primer for those of you who might be a little bit more oily. I am not oily, so I'm just going to rub this in. All right. So it just gives just a little bit of a dewy glow. Not crazy amounts, but just a little bit. All right, so let's peel this thing open and get started. All right, so I do like the fact that it is in a pump. It does say that it is hypoallergenic. It doesn't necessarily say what the multiple anti-aging benefits are on the packaging, but maybe I can find it. Okay, so I'm just going to put a pump on the back of my hand, and I'm going to go in with my beauty blender. I feel like a beauty blender for me is the best way to test out a foundation, because you can really see the coverage and the application. If you can't put it on very easily with a beauty blender, then it's not going to go on very easily with a brush. It's kind of how I look at it. So I do have some flakiness right here. It is sticking to that a little bit, but I really didn't think that it wouldn't. I had a peel, and you know that, so I got some flakiness. So I'm not really going to hold that against this foundation. So this is 2.5 pumps. I feel like I've had to use quite a bit to get a decent amount of coverage. It's not necessarily full coverage, definitely medium at best. This might be just a smidge too light, which is kind of surprising because I was kind of just guessing, but it's not terrible. It's not a terrible choice at all. So I'll zoom you guys in. Pretty decent coverage, I have to say. You can definitely still see my hyperpigmentation under my eyes and in the center of my forehead, but it definitely evened out my skin tone, and you know, it gave decent coverage. It is sticking to my little dry patches down here, but once again, I didn't expect it not to. They're pretty prominent on my face right now. So, all right, I am going to go in with the primer in light. So this is, it does say it's meant for under eye dark circles and age spots, which is another word for hyperpigmentation. It is really creamy. So, I mean, it goes on really easily. So it's super creamy. Let's see how it blends. I think that blended out quite nicely. You definitely have to work at it a little bit more than, let's say, the Age Rewind concealer, because it is a stick concealer. I feel like you do have to work it just a little bit more. Okay, so I don't really think that it gave much coverage. It did brighten the under eye for sure, but as far as coverage, I don't know about that. I am going to go ahead and set it because I don't know if this is going to crease or not. The powder that I'm using is from Flower Cosmetics, and this is their Miracle Matte Translucent Powder. I absolutely love this. It is a really, really finely milled powder. You will not find a more matte powder at the drugstore than this, or finely milled. And for $10, I think it's a really, really affordable option for an under eye, well, for setting powder in general, but I use it really just for under my eye, and it gives the skin such a nice feel. It's so nice. Okay, so we have the foundation on and we have the concealer, and for the most part, I feel like not too terrible. It doesn't, let me see if I can find out what its claims are. Okay, so this is why it's beneficial. I did find it on, Elaine Irwin is the spokesperson for this line, and the reason why she decided to be the face is because of the breakthrough ingredients. So this is what it states online from the Almay website about why this Age Essentials multi-beneficial anti-aging makeup line is good. So it talks about that this line is formulated with a breakthrough combination of collagen, hyaluronic acid, and peptides to help the skin maintain a youthful look. It is dermatologist tested, it is fragrance free, and it is gentle, non-irritating, and it works for all complexions. I don't feel like this the foundation or the concealer have really exaggerated my pores. I do have some large pores in my T-zone, and I feel like for the most part, this looks like my skin, but better. So it did offer light to medium coverage. It is a very natural finish. It's not super dewy, and I even put a radiant primer underneath it. So I do think that this could work for ladies from dry all the way up to oily or combination. If you're super oily, I would probably put a mattifying primer underneath this. If you were super duper dry, I would put a hydrating primer underneath this. So I'm gonna finish putting on my makeup, and we'll see how this layers. And we're back. Makeup is done, looks pretty good. I will say, just from the last like 2 minutes of finishing my makeup, my skin has really started to flake, and this foundation is really hugging onto those areas around my, just like literally this part of my mouth. When I peel, that's where I really, really flake, and this foundation is clinging to that skin pretty decently, especially like in my lines. So yeah, if you are super, super dry, you have a lot of flaking skin, if you're gonna use a foundation like this, you're really gonna have to exfoliate the skin before you use it. And you know, you can find foundations that are better. So I'm going to wear this foundation and I will do a check-in and let you guys know how it's wearing. Okay, so this is my check-in. It is 11:03 p.m. It's been a long day. I'm sorry I didn't do a midday check-in. I forgot, I'll be honest. I got just carried away with life. So the makeup for the most part held up really well, I have to say. Now I did have some of the foundation break down around my nose, but I'd been blowing my nose and it was just itchy today. But I will say this, as the foundation wore on, I felt like it got more and more luminous. So that could be a combination of the foundation itself and the primer that I put underneath, because I did put the Magic Lumi underneath it. So it could just be that, or it could be some of those anti-aging benefits coming into play. You know, the hyaluronic acid keeping the skin nice and hydrated. So I will put it out there that if you are super oily, or you get really oily in your T-zone, if you're combination skin but there's oil involved, you may want to put a mattifying primer underneath this foundation if you are still interested in the skincare benefits of this foundation, because I haven't blotted anything, or actually I'm gonna add some more of this lip treatment. I really did enjoy the lip treatment. I mean, I feel like my skin looks really pretty. The foundation wore nicely. The makeup on top of the foundation wore beautifully. I feel like you can still see my highlight and my blush and my bronzer. You know, all in all, I think that the makeup wore really, really well. I'm glad that I set my under eye concealer. It feels so nice. My under eye area is so soft. I didn't have any creasing. The foundation, which normally for me, it breaks down right here. It didn't break down, but I know that I was itching and scratching my nose a lot because they cut the lawn today, so my nose has just been crazy. But I will say, the dry patches right here, it did cling to it really, like, very noticeably in the beginning, but I feel like as it's worn on, yeah, it's still there and it's still noticeable, but it's not as bad, if that makes sense. All in all, I think it's a really nice foundation. I think the wear time is pretty good, over 8 hours, so that's not bad. It hasn't broken down where normally I would have foundation break down. I call that my Mojave Desert. So it didn't break down. It wore evenly. But once again, my skin type, I have normal skin. It tends, if it's gonna be anything, it tends to be a little dry, not oily. So I'm just letting you guys know what my skin type is to see for you guys to be able to gauge whether this would be a foundation that you would want to go out and purchase. Now I will say I purchased this at Bed Bath & Beyond for $12. So this was a $12 foundation. Actually all of these products I'm pretty sure were around $12. So just to let you know about the price, I feel like it is a little more pricey than some of the other foundations that Almay carries, but I could be wrong. It might just be on par for their pricing. I don't actually remember, but I will continue to use this collection. I do enjoy it. I think that my makeup looks really pretty. I got complimented quite a few times. My lips were very hydrated. Let's talk about this little lip treatment. I had super hydrated lips. My lipstick wore beautifully. It didn't wear through eating so much, but I struggle with dry lips, and so I really enjoyed this treatment. I'm actually gonna go and put it on my nightstand and use it every evening along with my night routine. But all in all, I'm a fan of this Age Essentials makeup collection. So that is my review and my demo. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. If you have tried this collection, I would love to know what your thoughts are. And if you have not done so already, please click that subscribe button so that you guys can get the latest updates on my videos. Okay guys, and until next time.